this chapter is dealing with prayers by the demigods for Lord Krishna in the womb. When Krishna's appearance is coming right up.
Jai.
Because you're talking about, we'll see, very important absolute knowledge, not temporary knowledge or relative knowledge, but this is absolute knowledge. It's like the chanting of the holy names is absolute. Because the chanting of the holy names, Krishna's names, will never leave you disappointed unless, of course, you want to be disappointed. Krishna fulfills all desires. If you want to become disappointed, you can. Even while chanting his names. But if you're in the right mood of, let's say, surrender and affection and love, then you'll experience something extraordinary by chanting Krishna's names. So, now Anthony, this is Anthony. Anthony was here a few months ago, I guess. He lives not too far from here, and he happened to have an urge to visit today. Yeah. And he had an experience with the deities. He said Krishna turned his eyes toward him, and I said, "This is something that Krishna wants to see who you are. He wants to examine you inside. So he look at you." But that's true. Krishna's right there, but he's in a form that we think is actually made of marble, stone. But because Krishna's in control of that marble, he can make it move if he wants to. He can turn his head. Seen him turn his head. Look at you. Turn away. Look away. No, I'm not interested in looking at you today. So, because he's there and he is a person and he reciprocates with people. And we are the people. Power to the people, they say. So, power to the people, yes. Love is the most powerful power. And that's what the people need. The people need the power of love. That's the power of love. So, Krishna reciprocates with the power of love. If you have some power of love inside of you, and he'll reciprocate with that love. For persons who are not very advanced in absolute knowledge of the Supreme, Lord Krishna exhibits his transcendental pastimes. That's why he comes. He knows that we can't see transcendental vision very easily unless he blesses us with that transcendental vision. But just in the course of life, we only see with these two eyes. We don't see with the third eye unless we want to. And we develop some sight, some insight, and some sight from the third eye. The two eyes, they focus on something, then the third eye actually sees it for what it is when you study this literature. They can simply think of the pastimes of the Lord and get full benefit. That's where everyone can hear Krishna's pastimes. And even if they don't understand or they don't feel very much inclined to believe it or whatever, they will still get some benefit simply because they sat down and they listened. That's all. Just a little listening. Since there is no difference between the transcendental name and the form of the Lord, there is no difference between the transcendental pastimes and the form of the Lord. For those who are less intelligent, the great sage Vyasadeva wrote the Mahabharata. In the Mahabharata, Krishna is present in his different activities. Mahabharata is history, and simply by studying, hearing, memorizing the transcendental activities of Krishna, the less intelligent can also gradually rise to the standard of pure devotees. Actually, in the very end, last chapter in this book, Prabhupada says, so everyone should memorize this book. Memorize. What he means is that you should know all of these pastimes even in your own, you know the pastimes without having to memorize word for word, but you know everything is what the next pastime is and what this pastime is and what this time. It's like a form of pure memory. It's not rote memorization. But everyone should memorize this book, Krishna. The pure devotees who are always absorbed in the thought of transcendental lotus feet of Krishna and who are always engaged in devotional service in full Krishna consciousness are never to be considered to be in the material world. Sri Rupa Goswami has explained, for those who are always engaged in Krishna consciousness by body, by mind, and by activities, are to be considered liberated even within this body. It is also confirmed in Bhagavad Gita that those who are engaged in the devotional service of the Lord have already transcended the material position. Krishna appears to give a chance both to the devotees and the non-devotees for realization of the ultimate goal of life. The devotees get the direct chance to see him and to worship him. Those who are not on that platform get a chance to become acquainted with his activities and thus become elevated to the same position. O my Lord, the demigods continued, quote, "You are unborn. Therefore we do not find any reason for your appearance other than your pleasurable pastimes." Unquote. Although the reason for the appearance of the Lord is stated in Bhagavad Gita, he descends just to give protection to the devotees and to vanquish the non-devotee demons. Actually, he descends for his pleasure meeting with the devotees, not really to vanquish the non-devotee demons. The non-devotees can be vanquished simply by material nature. Krishna doesn't have to take any special energy to take care of that kind of business. Material nature is already there, taking care of what happens to this material body and to the lives of those who are working strictly under the modes of material nature and karma. The action and reaction of the external energy of material nature, creation, maintenance, and annihilation, are being carried on automatically, but simply by taking shelter of your holy name, the demigods say, because your holy name and your personality are non-different. The devotees are sufficiently protected, unquote. The protection of the devotees in the annihilation of the demons are actually not the business of the Supreme Personality of Godhead when he descends. They are just for his transcendental pleasure. There cannot be any other reason for his appearance. Quote, the demigods continue, "Our dear Lord, you are appearing as the best of the Yadu dynasty, and we are offering our respectful humble obeisances unto your lotus feet. Before this appearance, you also appeared at the fish incarnation, and a horse incarnation, and tortoise incarnation, and swan incarnation, as King Ramachandra, as Parsuram, and many other incarnations. You appeared just to protect the devotees, and we request you, in your present appearance as the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself, to give us similar protection all over the three worlds and remove all obstacles for the peaceful execution of our lives." Quote, "Dear Mother Devaki, within your womb is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, appearing along with his plenary extensions. He is the original Personality of Godhead, appearing for our welfare. Therefore you should not be afraid of your brother Kamsa, the king of Bhoja. Your son, Lord Krishna, who is the original Personality of Godhead, will appear for the protection of the pious Yadu dynasty. The Lord is appearing not only alone, but accompanied by his immediate plenary portion, Balaram." Unquote. Devaki was very much afraid of her brother, Kamsa, because he had already killed so many of her children. She used to remain very anxious about Krishna, In the Vishnu Purana, it is stated that in order to pacify Devaki, all the demigods, along with their wives, used to always visit her and encourage her not to be afraid that her son would be killed by Kamsa. Krishna, who was within her womb, was to appear not only to diminish the burden of the world, but specifically to protect the interest of the Yadu dynasty, and certainly to protect Devaki and Vasudeva. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport of the second chapter of Krishna. Prayers by the demigods for Lord Krishna in the womb. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Chapter 3 coming up, the birth of Lord Krishna. Tomorrow night we'll start that.